Following is a commentary intended for the purposes of review/critique, and as such likely falls under fair use fair deal. Under no circumstance should the material or any part or aspect within be considered a replacement/substitute for any subject/subjects referenced within. Please support the official release. Links in the description are for the source material and are not intended as a means of encouraging/enabling the harassment of any person, groups, companies, or other entities therein. No matter what, do not go after these people.
Really bored right now, not gonna lie. Wish something interesting would happen.
You shouldn't have said that.
Wait. What do you mean I should check out a new tweet from Maya? Why? Alright. I'll look. I have no idea why you're so... What the fuck? Oh boy. Oh boy. Hey, this is CHA0SXIII coming at you from my fortified bunker on the far side of Ohio, and damn was August shit. That said, got some good news and some bad news. Good news? We're getting a new game from Volition Inc. come February 2022. That from what little we've seen of the gameplay, and from what those who seem to be in the know have said, is an amazing experience, full of awesome features that promise to keep players entertained for some time, or hopefully at least until Starfield comes out. The bad news, Volition are claiming it's a reboot of Saints Row. Now, that in and of itself wouldn't be a problem. In fact, if things were just a skosh different, this would be some of the best gaming news I've heard in a minute. Except for... Yeah, that's supposed to be the 3rd Street Saints. Allegedly. Now, a lot of the supporters of this reboot are claiming that the only reason OG Saints Row fans like myself are hating on this game is just that it's a reboot. And while there are definitely OG fans who want Johnny, Lynn, Julius, Shandy, Pierce, and the rest of the classic characters from the first 2 games to come back, namely to beat the ever-loving animal Jesus out of these college rejects with an aluminum baseball bat, I don't feel that's why most OG fans are pissed. Or at least that's not why I'm irritated by it anyway. For those of you who aren't veterans of the franchise, the premise of the first game is that you start out as a young adult walking around your neighborhood one night when a fight breaks out nearby between the 3 rival gangs of the game. The Vice Kings, the Rollers, yes, Rollers, with a Z at the end, and the Los Carnales.
The Carnales. What? Rio Grande River. Jesus. What the fuck? It's not the Los Carnales, it's just the Carnales. Los means... fuck it.
You barely avoid getting hit by a car, only to nearly eat a bullet until you're rescued by the leader of the 3rd Street Saints, Julius Little, and one of his underlings, Troy, who's definitely, totally a gangbanger. An honest-to-goodness gangbanger. Yes, sir. Definitely a real, honest-to-goodness criminal. Totes. You're left with few options other than to join the Saints to put an end to the gang war. But it all goes sideways, and we're left with a cliffhanger. In Saints Row 2, the one where you make money spraying people with human shit, you wake up from a 5-year coma. break out of jail, and have to rebuild the Saints from the ground up. But this time, with you as the leader. Saints Row 1 was pretty good, but the sequel is where a lot of people feel it really hit its stride. Being a gritty crime game about a ruthless murderer's rise to power, the sacrifices and tragedies along the way, and the pursuit of vengeance against any and all who dare to oppose you or your allies. All balanced with very plausible, yet at times quite ridiculous humor to keep things from getting too dark. Both were brutal, but not too inaccurate representations of street gang culture at the time, where the only other game that really did anything quite like that was the GTA franchise. But there were several key differences, namely that while GTA gave you a pre-made protagonist to follow and play as, in Saints Row, you were the main character. Also, in my opinion, the controls felt better than any GTA that was out at the time, but that might just be me. Then, Volition lost its damn mind and we got 2 Saints Row games that were quote-unquote parodies of open-world crime games. Now, to be fair, Saints Row III and Saints Row 4 were pretty fun games. The one thing I can say about Volition when it comes to the Saints Row games is that they have always been fun. Yes, certain aspects such as the controls and quality of life features from older games may feel a tad dated now, but not to the point that they're unplayable, and definitely not to the point where they aren't fun anymore. You can pick up the original Saints Row game today and still have fun with it, even if it is a bit jank at times. And you do the same for the others clear up to Saints Row 4. The problem with the installments after Saints Row 2 is that while they may be fun and even great games, they're not good Saints Row games. And yes, the two are not mutually inclusive. They just lack the same vibe as the first two, and at best, they feel like a parody of their predecessors. And a word of advice, only try self-parody if you really know what you're doing, or else you end up pissing off your fan base. I've seen in other franchises, and while it can work, it's a very, very, very fine art and science, believe me. Then, you have Get Out of Hell, an expansion for Saints Row 4, which I played like a fifth of before I got bored with the story to the point that I just couldn't care about the actually kinda neat gameplay. So I just stopped and never picked it up again. And then there's Agents of Mayhem, which was a thing, I guess. Honestly, I have trouble remembering this game even exists most of the time, and I don't even think Volition themselves know for sure whether or not it counts as a Saints game, because it's been marketed as both absolutely not a Saints game and totally a Saints game at the same time. But it flopped hardcore, so who cares? Moving on. Now, fast forward to August 25th of this year, and after years of subtle hinting and not so subtle hinting at a new Saints Row that returns to its SR1 and 2 roots, we get this.
Whenever you're ready, Kevin.
What are you guys thinking for dinner tonight? How about my world famous chili con carne? Hey guys!
What even is this? Okay, quick jab at all of the gaming industry. Knock it off with the goddamn CGI trailers that have shit to do with anything. Unless you plan on showing gameplay and or in-game screenshots within 24 hours at the latest, CGI trailers are useless and suck ass, even if some of them do look cool. And in Saints Row's case,
Hey! Asshole! Get the fuck away from my friends.
cool isn't the first thing that comes to mind when I hear that line. Let alone gangster. What that now? Okay, I'm getting word that there is gameplay, so let's see it.
This is where all our dreams come true.
That's it? What the flippity fuck? What? Again? I swear to God, if you're wasting my time with another 10 seconds of blink and you miss a gameplay, I'll... Alright, chill, fucker. Apparently, there's another quote-unquote gameplay trailer that's better than the first one, so I'll give that a watch, then come back and tell you how hopeless the situation is. BRB. Well, I watched it, and I'll admit, it's a lot better than I'd feared. But it still hasn't done anything to alleviate the main concern for the reboot. So,
Skip it up and that.
Jesus Christ, rude much! I rub my ass again. Okay, so getting this damn video done and out has been tantamount to urethra torture. Partially because IRL stuff keeps getting in the way, and partially because shit keeps coming out about the reboot and I've been scrambling to keep up with it all. Okay, so gameplay seems like it may actually be the best of the franchise to date, as according to Saints Row influencers. God, I hate that term. There's apparently a whole lot of gameplay and features they haven't shown yet. And from what they've claimed, everything we've seen up till now sounds a little more than gravy. Which would be very exciting were it not for the elephant in the room. The Saints don't look a damn thing like Saints. I mean, we got Discount Kinsey Kensington, a shirtless, mildly offensive stereotype of something, I think, who is shirtless, wants to be a TV cook, is shirtless, and is a DJ who is shirtless, all while being shirtless, due to the very important reason of...
Kevin is shirtless, I don't know why.
We also have, and I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth, Steve J. Urkel. The J is for jobs, by the by. Who seems less interested in building a gang and more interested in building a corporation. Sure, why not? Lastly, we have the only member of this upcoming latest installment of the High School Musical franchise that has shown any signs of being capable of not speedrunning becoming a statistic in a gunfight, the boss, our character. The apparent default version of which looks like generic empowered female archetype trademark. Like, you couldn't have made her look at least a little original? Not really showing off that character creator much, are you? Nope, just gonna copy-paste the design of every try-hard, strong female role model in mainstream media over the last several years to own the patriarchy, aren't ya? Okay, to be upfront about this, I don't actually think this game is trying to be woke. At least, not from this trailer, or anything outside one or two articles from oh-so-reliable and trustworthy games journalism websites. thus far. Still, Volition, can you really blame people for jumping to that conclusion? You haven't given us much to go on so far, and given that you've been dishonest about Saints Row in the past as well, and given how mainstream media has been over the last few years in general, it doesn't feel like much of a stretch, now does it? But pointing that out just means I'm a hater now, right? Which brings us to the real elephant in the room. Volition's attitude towards any fan that dares to question them. On Twitter, they've been going off on some fans who have complained about their approach, and acting smug in general when they haven't really earned that privilege. And yes, that is a privilege, and you do have to earn it. Otherwise, your audience feels like you don't take them seriously. And after you apparently lied to your influencers about when that gameplay trailer was coming out and its contents, it would seem that you don't. Volition, there are one of two possibilities. One, your communication has been so shit, even amongst yourselves as well as the community, that while what you've said about these punks slowly evolving into the 3rd Street Saints we love and know is actually true, it has been so hopelessly lost in translation that if you haven't already hit a point of no return, you're fast approaching it, and in which case, you need to hurry up and course correct now. Quick FYI here. Volition just released a bit more info on the official Saints Row Reboot website confirming that layered clothing is returning, as well as, more importantly to this video, revealing more backstory on the new Saints that suggests they're a lot more seedy and dangerous than what the CGI trailer implied. But we still have yet to see any real in-game proof of this, just text on their website at the time of this recording. So, while I will talk about this more in a future video, and it may be a sign of things turning around for the situation, 98% of the points made in this video still stand. Now, back to our regularly scheduled programming. The second possibility is you're full of shit. At least, about these characters improving during the course of the story. But if that's so, then you could be lying about other things too. If you lied about these being real saints, then what else have you lied about? Because those influencers I mentioned earlier, they all said that you swore you were gonna show the world the same trailer you showed them, and yet you haven't. At least, not completely. And they're both very confused and very, very angry. And I can't blame them because a lot of this backlash is falling on them. To the point that the conspiracy theorist in me almost has to wonder if this wasn't some half-assed plan to make them a scapegoat for your tomfuckery. Like, is what you showed them going to be in the game? Or did you just show them a bunch of content and hope that they'd hype up the crowd for you to the point where they wouldn't care what was actually in or not in the game? Are you clowning? Because I sense clowns. In conclusion, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and until I see improvement from both the marketing and the story, I can't bring myself to even call this a Saints Row game. So, until further notice, I'll call this so-called reboot self-made. You know, like it says in the promotional stuff. And honestly, that's probably a nicer name than it deserves right now. I may make another video about this, especially in light of even more news regarding this game trickling out, but for now, these are my thoughts. Oh, and one more quick note. Even if this is a true return to form for the franchise, hell, even if this turns out to be, dare I say it, a better, more Saints Row-y Saints Row than even Saints Row 2, your attitude could end up killing it before it ever gets a chance to prove itself, if it hasn't already, which would be very, very sad for everyone. Yeah, I do mean everyone. Look, I understand the temptation to lay into people when the pressure's on. especially since I'm sure you've gotten death threats and such over this. To which I say, fuck anyone out there sending death threats to anyone over a damn game. But this is not a healthy or productive way to address the issue. If it is a true Saints Row, and people get turned off just because you shot yourselves in the collective foot with how you've reacted, then that would honestly break my heart. I want this to be great. I want you to be great. And I know you can be great. You've shown us so in the past, and I want to believe that you still got it in you. To tell you the truth, I'd even go as far as to say that I almost need this to be great. Almost. For now, though, this has been CHA0SXIII, coming at you from my fortified bunker on the far side of Ohio, and I hope you all have a great day.
Fuck it.